and my beanie cap. Hi, everybody. So here we are from the dressing room again. And I am today with...
Hi, Curtis Maniser. How are you, Peabody? I miss you guys.
Listen to that voice. Listen how high the speaking voice is. And he said he just woke up. We have two performances today.
Yes.
And I've spent the entire time Skyping Aaliyah and speaking with Rebecca, and at the birthday party and at the baby shower. Oh. So I'm jealous that you had that opportunity to sleep. I would have loved to have done it. That was my intent, but it didn't happen today. Rats. I've got my little beanie cap on. So, Curtis, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? You are a Peabody grad.
Yes, I did my graduate performance diploma at Peabody from 2008 to 2010. Before that, I was at Towson University.
Oh, right.
From... Where was I did 2003 to 2007, and then the year in between I did Sweeney Todd up in New York. So I did Pirelli for that. Oh, there's so much to talk about.
Really? Terrific. And you worked with Steve Rainbow.
Yep, I worked with Steve Rainbow. And then I did 1 year of coaching with Bob Muckenfuss, and then the other with Ernie Ligon. Yep.
Terrific. So what happened for you after Peabody? How is it that you're here now at Chicago Lyric?
So the year after school, I actually stayed in Baltimore, and I think I had 1 or 2 lessons with Dr. Rainbow, but I decided I needed to learn how my voice worked on its own away in different repertoire and try and figure it out for myself. And then in 2011, because I grew up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, I decided that since we would come down to Chicago every now and then, I'm a huge cheesehead.
Oh, are you?
That I wanted to move to Chicago because of, number one, the art scene, which is different than it is in Baltimore. It's just a bigger, more thriving city than Baltimore is. So then moved here. My first year in Chicago, because you need to pay bills, first off. I got a season as the tenor soloist for the Chicago Oratorio Society, which helped a lot because I was able to be the soloist for the Haydn St. Nelson Mass, the St. Teresa Mass. What else did we do that season? Mozart Vespers, Mozart Requiem, and that was all between September and April. And then in between that, my first year, I did the Young Artist Apprentice program at Sarasota Opera. So that was good from January to March. And then came back and then auditioned for Chicago Opera Theater, and I got to do 2 shows with them. Yeah. And then my first season at Lyric was last year as a chorister in Parsifal. And then this year, when you audition for the chorus, you're also able to audition for some of the Compromario roles. And if they deem it okay, then you get to do some of the leading role covers, which I lucked out with. So we did Trovatore this season. I did Porgy and Bess this season and Tannhäuser this season. And then made my debut singing Peter and covering Sport and Life in Porgy and Bess. And from that, my career just kind of went off because you have to be prepared. What they teach you there, trust me, please be prepared. It's no joke.
What do you think was the biggest surprise for you, or what was like a revelation for you when you left Peabody and when you got out into the world?
There are many different avenues in which you can go. Some people do the Young Artist program route. Some people do the work route. Some people end up going into teaching, or they try and do the working thing or the small gigs thing, and they just find out teaching is more their bag, or some people go for the doctorate. You need to be extremely focused. You need to be extremely dedicated. I know from people at Peabody, it's very easy after a show to do a show or do the do a master class or anything like that, and then knowing that you have a lesson or coaching the next day, you're like, I can go to Brewers Art and I'll be fine the next day. Doesn't necessarily work that way when people are doing $1 million productions and you have to sing in them.
And even if it may work that next day,
right?
You cannot continue a lifestyle like that because you will pay for it
eventually. Down the line, absolutely. So the dedication. the amount of work and responsibility that goes into it. Also the rest, which is so needed. You don't really know about it until you're actually, this season I was down in Sarasota, Florida for vacation. Then I got a call from the New World Symphony that they wanted me to come down to audition for the Verdi Requiem. So then I cut that short to go down there. But then the exact same day, I had to be back up here to audition for next season for Lyric. So.
Oh, you have to audition every year?
Yes.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, so it's good.
That's great, because it keeps you sharp.
It keeps you sharp, it keeps you going, and then if they make you an offer, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to accept it, but it's good to get the offers. It's great. It's
sure,
so,
sure. And how is it, because I always listen for your voice, he calls in our scene in Carousel, Nettie Fowler, and every day I listen, how's he going to do it today? How's he going to do it today?
Every time.
He does it different. Hello, yes, come in. He does it different every day, and that's a big joy for me. And how has this been doing, because this is quite a different schedule, though, isn't it?
Yes. Well, I started off doing musical theater, but as LaGraves will be able to tell you, it's different from the opera season because sometimes you'll do maybe a maximum of 2 performances a week, sometimes 3, depending on the size of the house, whether it's in the States or whether it's in Europe. But on the musical theater route, this run we're doing 7 shows a week.
Oh, it depends. Yeah,
7. Sometimes it's 8.
Yeah.
The musicals that we're doing at Lyric, it's a big thing because it's outside of the regular subscription year. But I mean, it's getting almost as much buzz. So, and it's really good. I mean, you got people like this that are singing some of the roles.
And how has it been for you? How do you keep yourself in condition during a schedule like this? Could you live here?
I do live here. This is home base.
I think that's harder.
It is.
I think it's harder to work and do an engagement where you live. Yeah.
Because then you have to, I mean,
you got
there's
your
just
regular
so many things
stuff.
going on. Right.
Yeah.
You see the people that you're going to see every day, the same hangout spots, or be like, oh, work is just down the street. Everything will be fine. So it's a little harder. What helps is, and eventually people will get there once you have a schedule that's like after this, like I'll actually be back in Baltimore for the BSO, Candide, that's in June.
There you go.
So come to Meyerhoff and to Strathmore. So yeah, that's great.
It's awesome.
So doing that, it helps because you stay focused on the next upcoming gig. So, but then not only that, while you're here, it's just the dedication of the more that you keep going, you just want to make it better than it was before. So, pretty much it.
So do you have any advice that you would give the students or anything that you...
Stay focused as before. One thing that people tell you, which is very easy to get caught up with when you're a singer at Peabody, when you're on the main stage and like in one year you're doing like Schoolmaster and then Alfredo and then another Denyce at the opera. Stay humble because within those 4 walls, it's very easy to get comfortable and know that the work is coming, but it is the business is a completely different animal outside of 4 safety walls. Don't burn bridges. Stay really focused on not only the sounds that you want to make, but the dedication for the repertoire you're going to do, and be realistic with it. Every soprano wants to do Tosca. Some people aren't going to do Tosca. Every mezzo wants to do Dalila or Carmen. You're not going to do Dalila or Carmen. Most tenors want to do, everything. I wanted to do Otello. I did get to do Otello. But
did you?
Yeah, down in Utah.
That's awesome.
Also, for preparation, I went on as the cover, and then after the 2 performances, the dress rehearsal and opening night reviews came out, then they gave me the rest of the run. So be prepared. And that helped a lot too. That helped me get a gig in 2016. So you just never know, like, just be ready.
Honey,
so
this is so good. This is so good.
Yeah, so like all those things together, but just being focused with it, being humble, being smart, staying healthy. Don't get psyched out with all the musical type things. My main thing is like, if you're sick, drink water and go to sleep. If you're not feeling well, go to sleep. If you have a role that you kind of know, make sure that you know it, that you know it, that you know it. If you're a cover, know it better than the person that is actually doing it.
Without a doubt.
And then also in your free time, sometimes people get teased for being opera nerds. Learn roles that you think that either interest you or that you're learning arias for, even though you may not sing the role. Learn the role, and then later on down the line, Joanne Kuleza, who's right there, will tell you, in 6 days, I got a call from a company in Washington to learn a Rodolfo. By that point, I had learned the aria, had never sung the aria before, but had done the duet. You learn the role in 6 days, you go on and you do it because you're a nerd and you're like, oh, let me go through the score, and then you learn it bit by bit by bit. So,
plus, he's got an awesome body. That doesn't hurt.
That helps too.
That doesn't hurt. All right, everybody, we got to scoot because I got to get. She's come through the door 3 times. I got to get. Yeah. I got to turn into Nettie, and you got to turn into who you got to turn into.
Exactly.
All right, and so, but anyway, thank you so much.
Oh my gosh,
appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I'm going to send this to Steve and to Joanne. They'll get a kick out of it.
Everybody.
All right, thanks so much. This is In the Dressing Room with Denyce and Curtis. All right, bye.